First up, we slap on a pair of snow boots and head to Montreal in Canada. It's the dead of winter, and so it's unlikely you'll find anybody playing any sport, let alone cricket. But that did not deter more than 60 brave souls from bundling up in their thickest winter outfits to turn out for the 6th edition of the Snow Cricket World Cup. The frosty idea is the brainchild of Scotsman Angus Bell, who introduced the icy version of the game to the Commonwealth back in 2008 after being inspired from playing in some remote locations around Europe.
In 2005, with the backing of a Montreal sidekick, I drove 8,000 miles around the former Soviet bloc playing cricket against the world's strangest teams. It took me from ice in Estonia to playing next to minefields on Croatian islands and in Belarusian car parks with Nepalese medical students. And I thought, if cricket exists in these conditions, then surely it can be done in Montreal.
Well, the game has certainly thrived since its inception, and it comprises players from the largest cricket club in Quebec, called the Pirates of the St. Lawrence. And while the club does host other cricket events around the year, snow cricket is by far the most popular amongst its members.
It's going to be a challenge, but it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll have a great time. And instead of tea and crumpets at half-time, there's going to be hot pork pies. So there you go. That's what we do here in Montreal.
I enjoy something about this tournament because it really incorporates Canada and Canadian weather into it, and I think it's really nice to get people out in a new format of the game, and that's why this tournament interests me, because we got like 60 people coming and we're playing on snow and we don't know what's going to happen, and that's the greatest part.
All the participants share the same unbridled enthusiasm for this form of the game, and mostly because of its unrestricted access to players of all skill sets. The finely manicured wicket is swapped for a snowy one, and the leather ball for a frozen tennis ball tossed onto some plywood sheets.
Our objectives are to make cricket as visible, accessible and fun as possible. And what could be more visible, accessible and fun than snow cricket? We're able to make opportunities for anybody, no matter what their age, level, background, to come together and enjoy this great game.
I think the Pirates are doing a great job of actually organizing fun events like this. We're in the dead of winter, and look at all the people that came out. A lot of people came out for the first time. They saw cricket in the snow, and it triggers their interest. And later on, they'll come to indoor cricket, and then it's a good visibility. We're out here in a place where people drive by and they ask themselves, what are people doing in the snow? It gets the word around, and eventually builds up a little bit of a cricket movement. Is not enough in Montreal to really sustain something interesting like a league.
Interest in the sport, though, is growing, and due to the efforts of Cricket Canada, there are more young people looking to pick up the game and rise through the ranks of the national side.
Cricket in Canada is definitely expanding. We expect that trend to continue. Last summer, we instituted a National League tournament, which brings together 50 of our best cricketers playing against each other. This tournament was held in Ontario during the summer months, and it split all 3 formats of the game.
Snow cricket in Canada has its origins in the 19th century, when English explorer Captain William Parry played with his crew on Igloolik Island in the Arctic Circle. This modern version in 2013 was played on McGill University's McTavish Reservoir on Mount Royal. And this year's tournament featured players from 6 continents divided into 6 teams based on their ethnicity. With the lines drawn and the stumps erected, the sudden onset of 80km/h winds and blizzard-like conditions almost threatened to freeze over the eagerness of those in attendance. But the participants were undeterred.
This is great weather. It gives us an opportunity to come out in the middle of the winter and enjoy a great cricket game. As you can see, my vision is 100%, and we can all see what's going on behind us. Obviously, after the game is over, the tournament is over, we all have the privilege of going inside and having some antifreeze.
Thankfully, for all those involved, no antifreeze was required as the weather broke to bathe the rest of the day in glorious sunshine.
Come on, guys. Get on ball!
The final was contested between Australia, New Zealand and the African Alliance after both teams advanced to the title decider following an unbeaten run in their pool games. The final ended deadlocked, with both sides posting 43 runs, requiring an 8-ball bowl-out in which the Africans prevailed 3-1. The winner's spoils were the ice ashes, a scented candle, an unusual trophy for an unusual cricketing event.